Judges chapter 19 is our scripture reading this morning as we begin a new series dealing with Judges 19 through 21 entitled The Outrage at Gibeah. Terrible sin, the worst sin in the whole book of Judges, I dare say. What that sin wrought in Israel, the church, the grief and the misery. Judges 19, verses 1 through 21. Pay close attention because it's a difficult passage. Try and work out just what is going on here. Judges 19, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the side of Mount Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem, Judah. And his concubine played the whore against him, and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem, Judah, and was there 4 whole months. And her husband arose, and went after her, to speak friendly unto her, and to bring her again, having his servant with him, and a couple of asses. And she brought him into her father's house, and when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink, and lodged there. And it came to pass on the 4th day, when they arose early in the morning, that he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, Comfort thine heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward go thy way. They sat down, and eat and drink, both of them together. For the damsel's father had said unto the man, Be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thine heart be merry. And when the man rose up to depart, his father-in-law urged him. Therefore he lodged there again. And he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart. The damsel's father said, Comfort thine heart, I pray thee. And they tarried until afternoon, and they did eat, both of them. When the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth toward evening. I pray you, tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go home. But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed, and came over against Gibeah, which is Jerusalem. And there were with him 2 asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. And when they were by Gibeah, the day was far spent, and the servant said unto his master, Come, I pray thee, and let us turn into this city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, We will not turn aside hither into the city of a stranger, that is not of the children of Israel. We will pass over to Gibeah. He said unto his servant, Come, and let us draw near to one of these places to lodge all night, in Gibeah or in Ramah. And they passed on, and went their way. And the sun went down upon them when they were by Gibeah, which belongeth to Benjamin. And they turned aside thither to go in, and to lodge in Gibeah. And when he went in, he sat him down in a street of the city, for there was no man that took them into his house to lodging. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even, which was also of Mount Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were Benjamites. And when he had lifted up his eyes, he saw a wayfaring man in the street of the city. And the old man said, Whither goest thou? And whence comest thou? And he said unto him, We are passing from Bethlehem, Judah, toward the side of Mount Ephraim. From thence am I. And I went to Bethlehem, Judah, but I am now going to the house of the Lord. And there is no man that receiveth me to house. Yet there is both straw and provender for our asses, And there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man which is with thy servants. There is no want of anything. The old man said, Peace be with thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me, only lodge not in the street. So he brought him into his house, and gave provender unto the asses, and they washed their feet, and did eat and drink. Amen. Sometimes a member in the church asks for a sermon on a particular biblical passage, and sometimes I'm able to preach on that text. An exposition of the latter part of Judges 19 was requested, but since that forms part of a larger narrative, we're now going to consider the whole of Judges 19, 20 and 21. These three chapters may well be unfamiliar to you, and so something of an overview is required here. Judges 19 records an attempted homosexual gang rape in the town of Gibeah, in Benjamin, in Israel, in the church. And to make a complicated and sordid story short, at the end of the chapter, a violated woman lies dead on the doorstep. Her husband then cuts up his concubine into 12 pieces and posts these to the tribes of Israel. And this then occasions a battle, or rather battles, between the 11 tribes of Israel and Benjamin, which defends Gibeah in its gross public sin. That's chapter 20. And in chapter 21, Benjamin, having been almost exterminated, Israel then ingeniously finds wives for the 600 remaining men of Benjamin, lest a tribe be lacking in Israel. Now don't worry if you haven't got all that straight after that brief overview, because all will become clear as we work our way through these three chapters in the weeks ahead. But for now, though, you could think of it this way. Judges 19, a gross public sin. This then occasions a great battle against Benjamin in chapter 20, which leads to the obtaining of wives for the remaining Benjamites in chapter 21. The sin in chapter 19, the battle in chapter 21, and then the attempt to gain wives for the remaining Benjamites. As I've said, Judges 19 through 21 is largely unfamiliar. And it is largely unfamiliar, largely because it is unsettling. And so people ignore it or quickly pass on, because it's an uncomfortable passage and it's hard to know what to make of it. In fact, you may already be somewhat disturbed at what you've heard in the public reading of Judges 19 verses 1 through 21. And we've only just started. There is the appalling sin of Gibeah itself, and after that, the rest of Judges, chapters 20 and 21, are unnerving too.